Hello guys, this video is going to cover your pen and ink shading practice. We are moving on to pen and ink techniques, and we are going to be having a bit of a Halloween theme this week. So you'll see in our practice assignment this week that we have some thematic sketching ideas to work with. The rest of the week is going to follow a similar idea, and we will be drawing haunted houses. So this will be a good first activity to kind of get you ready to be successful with that summative assignment. So the first part of this video will cover the creation of the worksheet that you'll be working on, and you can also choose to print this out. It's already posted on your Schoology page if you would rather do that. But because it's kind of a fun drawing activity, you could just draw it too. They're really kind of fun to do, and it'll even be good practice for when we do get started on that summative later in the week. Once the video switches to the actual shading portion of this activity, I will talk a little bit more about what you are going to be trying to do in order to shade the objects that you see. So now we're going to move on to the actual shading. There are a few different techniques that you are going to try in order to shade with a pen, and you can use either a ballpoint pen, a Sharpie, even some kind of marker would be fine. But the idea here is that we're not going to be diluting with water at all. Most pens are a little bit waterproof, and we will just be relying on letting the paper show through in order to get value as we work with our pen. So the first one here, you're going to be doing stipple. Stipple shading is just doing a whole bunch of small dots. It's a little bit time consuming, however you can get a pretty cool effect. It's a really good one to try if you are maybe a little bit angry, because you can really just poke a whole bunch of dots onto your paper. Obviously, as you are working to make something look lighter, you'll have more space in between the dots. They won't be as overlapped. etc. And you can go and make these a little bit more three-dimensional than I did. It's really up to you how much practice that you want to do in order to make this look how you want it to look. Next we are going to be working on cross-hatching, which is doing diagonal lines going one direction and then continuing to do diagonal lines the opposite direction, creating a hatched pattern. The closer your lines are here, the darker your shading will be, and if you do them further apart from each other or even just one set of lines, you'll get lighter shading. So you'll see here that I do a variety of things to make certain parts look dark and certain parts look light. You can also choose to do something called hatching, where you don't do the second lines that are crisscrossed, you only do one. Or you could even do 3 lines. It's really up to you. Our next technique is cell shading, which you'll see commonly in anime, comic books, and cartoons. This is a really cool technique where you are only using the very darkest color and the very lightest color. There is not going to be any kind of mid-range. These are usually very, very striking images, and they have a lot of contrast in them, which is something that we've talked about a few times already. So you'll see here that I paid attention to where my light source was in order to get my shadows in certain spots and not in the others. And finally, we have scribble shading, which, as it sounds, you are going to be doing scribbly lines. The closer they are together, the less paper will show through and the darker it will be. You can also do more space in between your scribbles, which will, like, more loopy, and that will also make it appear darker. This one needs another round of outline in order to make it look really good and contrasted. So that's something that I'll go back and do. But this is a really great way to do something like fur texture or hair, anything like that. It's a nice way to get kind of a fuzzy looking texture instead of just doing vertical lines or dots. So we will be using all of these techniques in our next summative project, which we are going to be talking about very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. We will discuss in class what the steps are for that next piece.